Yes. I understand. Weird timing today. I first said the show was going to be at 2, then it came 3, and now here we are signing on at 3:26. I do apologize. Happy Friday and welcome to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, live every day here from the Queen Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. What is this? Well, I'll tell you, it's little more than a middle-aged, irrelevant white man fecklessly bellowing into the vacuum of regret. Hey, look at me being poetic. I rant about stuff. Every day we get together, it's normal people. These are hot topics. These are things that are happening in the world today. We talk about them. We've got a chat room. Hi, Tyronda. Hi, Cece. Hi, Al. Sports Bras and me going to be doing Shock House tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's what I'm planning on doing. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and do all of those things. Here's what happens on this show. I basically just run down a list of things that are happening in the world today. I opine about them. I rant, if you will. Stream of consciousness is the style of broadcasting that I'll be engaging in, which means I never quite know what the next word or the next thought is going to be. No filter, no governor, no governor, like an engine. All right, here's what we're getting. Hi, April. April's here. Thank God it's Friday. Mikey D is here. Adam is here. All right, everybody's getting in. Let's go over the rundown. Let's talk about what we're going to be getting into today, okay? First of all, we're going to start out with my hell night last night. Do any of you have Samsung TVs? If you had a Samsung TV last night, you didn't get to watch any TV because we're all way too dependent on this shit that we don't understand. I'll tell you a horrifying story of how I spent 4 hours last night. It ain't good. And it was the good 4 hours. It was like the important 4 hours, 7 p.m. to 11. That's the me time of my day. That's where, I expect to be able to do some things. Couldn't do any of it. But that ain't the big story. The big story is, of course, and we cover this every day because I'm freaking obsessed lately with this Epstein situation. We've got big updates in the Epstein deal. We got big updates with Jizzy. Welcome to Texas, Jizzy. That's right, Ghislaine, or as I call her, Jizzy. Ghislaine has been moved to a prison here in Texas, and we're going to talk about that prison here in Texas that now houses the globe's most high-profile child rapist and sex trafficker. Yeah, we're going to get into it. What else do we got to talk about? We mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the big Red Zone deal with ESPN, Red Zone leaving NFL Network becoming ESPN. Whatever that deal looks like, well, it's done. It happened. If you're a big fan of Red Zone like I am, get ready for copious amounts of Pat McAfee and 100% more commercials. So we'll talk about the new Red Zone thing. What else? What else do we need to talk? Let me scan through my list of little tidbits. And Gary Busey's in the news. Gary Busey, it's been 30 years since Gary Busey was in the news for anything that was beneficial to Gary Busey. Yeah, he did something again. Gary Busey. We'll talk about that situation. There's a video out there of an amusement park ride in Saudi Arabia breaking in the middle of the ride. We're going to talk about that experience and why I will never ride a carnival ride ever. And I don't even know that this was a carnival. It looked like kind of a permanent structure. It doesn't matter. We're going to get into it. We're going to see some horrifying video, and we're going to tell some scary carnival stories. What happened? What else do we got here? Some other Pope news, a whole bunch of other things. Look, I know that there's a bunch of stuff happening with the economy and the labor and the jobs and the stock market and all of that, but there are plenty of places that you folks can go to hear bullshit about that. I don't know. Got a situation in Montana that we're following. Multiple people have been shot in Montana. The suspect is still out there running around, so we can follow that, but it's Montana. How many people, where's he at? What's the most populated game or place in Montana? I don't know. Nuclear submarines are getting sent to off the shore of Russia. I like that. You know me, I like that. I like anytime we can bow up against Putin. That son of a bitch, he's got to go. All right, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that we'll get into, but first and foremost, let me say thank you to somebody. Every day I like to say thank you to somebody who has made this show possible. This show, this particular show, this very show here has been made possible, or as we like to say, today's show has been brought to you by Leslie C. Leslie C. Thank you, Leslie. We're gonna start Pledge Week on Monday, and we're gonna have a number, and we're gonna need to make that number by Thursday, or probably Thursday, or else, you know, whatever. But thank you, Leslie C., for helping. I will add your total to the tips that we need to make this month in order to continue into August. If you would like to be tomorrow's, or Monday's, I guess, show brought to you by person, the way Leslie is today, you can drop a little something in the Cash App or in the Venmo. This show has run for 4 years on your gratuities. I thank you very much for that. All right. Al says Butte, Montana. Is that what we're following here? Okay, let's look into that first, right? Okay, let's go Montana shooting. Let's give you the latest details. Okay, we'll go NBC Montana. No, we'll go CBS. CBS is posting up 46 minutes ago. That's the most recent. Multiple people shot in Anaconda, Montana. It's a cool name for a town, gotta be honest. ATF says authorities are searching for the suspect. Okay, so this is Montana. You know, before we get into any of these mass shooters, or what do we call it? I don't even know what they are. Shooting sprees, suspect at large. Before we ever get into this, I like to look at the boxes. The boxes where this particular story will fit. We've got the box that is the Muslim terrorist, and shoots everybody up at a Target store just cause. Okay, that's one box. Maybe this story will go in that box. I don't know. Second box is, crazy white man, like the Vegas shooter. He's just like, shit didn't work out the way I wanted. Now everybody's going to die. Okay, so that's a box. Maybe we put it there. I'm thinking Montana. Thinking that might be the box. Just crazy white man who's had enough shit. Then there's the gangbanger box. 13 people shot at a backyard high school graduation in Atlanta, right? That's the gangbangers driving by. So that's a different box. And there's a bunch of other boxes. So let's see what this Montana one looks like it's going to fit into. Multiple people were shot in Anaconda, Montana on Friday. The Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. Oh, they've added explosives. That's too wordy. You can come up with something cooler than that. They say that the suspect is still at large, and this is as of 45 minutes ago. The ATF's field division in Denver said on social media that, you're a nothing state when the ATF's field office is in a different state. The ATF's field division in Denver said on social media that the shooting happened at a business. Oh, is that another box? Yeah, that's another box. I'm sorry. That's a box that we don't see much of anymore. That's the disgruntled worker. That's the original spree shooter box. That's the going postal box. We really don't use that much anymore. People have, other reasons other than they hate their boss or were laid off to shoot up the entire office these days. So that's another box. Look at that. Could be that one. It was a workplace shooting. The ATF's field division in Denver said that he was still at large. There were no additional details immediately available. The Anaconda Deer Lodge County Law Enforcement Department. Well, I bet they pull you over for bullshit. You know what I mean? The Anaconda / Deer Lodge County Law Enforcement. That's what it is. Anaconda doesn't have their own police department. So they got like one guy, a cooter, like that kind of a guy. And he's kind of got this dual authority. He's also kind of tangentially attached to the Deer County Law Enforcement, but he's just the Anaconda guy. The Anaconda Deer Lodge County Law Enforcement Department identified the suspect as Michael Paul Brown and said that he's believed to be armed and dangerous. That's the white man. All right. I'm not hearing Abdullah, whatever. He's been in this country for 3 years. They're almost always like students at University of Montana. Where's Boise State? That's Idaho. That's not Montana. Although they should be. Really, what are we doing here? Why can't we have just one giant state where nobody lives? We got to have like 4 of them all next to each other. If seen, do not approach Michael Paul Brown, the department said. Avoid contact with him. The sheriff's office for neighboring Granite County said on social media that the suspect was wearing a tie-dyed shirt. blue jeans, and an orange bandana. All right. It's one of these guys. How old is he? Man, I hope he's older than me. He's younger than me. I can tell looking at him. He looks like an old, angry white man, and I can tell from just the picture of him, a driver's license photo, that he is older than or younger than me. I hate that. All right. He's got tie-dye shirt, orange bandana, so he's out there. He's he's probably a deadhead, right? He's peacocking a little with the orange bandana. Look at me, look at me. The sheriff's office said the suspect's house in Anaconda has been cleared by a SWAT team. Avoid the Anaconda area. No problem. Had no plans. Stay vigilant. Report any suspicious activity. Montana. I wonder if we got a feed here. We got any? Hold on. Let's see if we got any Montana law enforcement. Because a lot of the big cities now, with their police scanner feeds, a lot of the big cities, they've digitized. They've gone to a different format, and so it's not live anymore. Like with the Chicago scanner, because they don't want to hide anything. Like everything you listen to is like an hour delayed. And that sucks because, you don't get good stuff anymore. Anything really awful gets edited out for the replay. All right, let's see here. Do I have any? I got no notifications from Montana. Let's see here. Stick with me, folks. This might pay off, or it might not at all. All right, police scanner. Jesus, I can't find my scanner app. You'd think I'd be able to find something that I use as often as... Actually, I never use the scanner. I always just click on alerts. I get alerts. I never actually have to find my scanner. Scanner radio. There we go. Okay. All right, let's go to the scanner radio. Let's see what we got here. Butte, Silver Bow. Here we go. This is the big one. Butte, Silver Bow Police, Silver Bow County, Montana. Let's see if there's anything coming over the radio. We'll rejoin the story already in progress. It says, please join.
Rescue on medic one.
Oh, jeez. We're going to have to deal with Montana accents. What the fuck is a Montana accent going to sound like? Nah, come on. That's mean. I don't need to do that. They might be nice people. All right, I'm not going to be held hostage by the scanner. I'm just going to read the story. The sheriff's office said the suspect's house in Anaconda has been cleared by SWAT. Avoid the Anaconda area, they say. Stay vigilant and report any suspicious activity. Montana's Governor Greg Gianforte said he was monitoring the response to the incident. Please join Susan and me, must be his wife. Please join Susan and me in praying for the victims, their loved ones, and the brave law enforcement officers responding to this tragedy. All right. Well, here's a picture of what this place looks like where the shooting took. Just goes to show you. It can happen anywhere. American 2025. All right. So obviously the scanner isn't even giving us anything here. So let's get rid of that. There's nothing happening, and we'll be following this. Chat room, if anything new develops in this story as we move forward with the show, be sure and shout it out. All right. Let's see. What do we want to move into? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about why my life got ruined last night. Now, this is a story that's trending, but it should be like the fifth or sixth story, but because it happened to me personally and it made me go absolutely nutty buckets last night, we're going to talk about it first because I got to rant to somebody. All right, so last night I get home, I don't know, it's like 7 o'clock or something like that, and I'm watching, I go to put the TV on, boop, I put the TV on, right? And I go to the DirecTV app, which is how I watch all my TV. My CNNs, my Fox Newses, my News Nations. I go to the DirecTV app, boom, hit the DirecTV app. It's buffering longer than usual. I'm not overly concerned because it always buffers, because let me tell you something about the digital app DirecTV system. It sucks ass, okay? Oh, I know it's probably more cost effective and, easier than maybe the old hardware where you used to have a DirecTV box and a remote that went to that box and you could change channel. No, not anymore. Now it's an app and everything buffers and everything takes a little bit longer. And you know what you can't do anymore? You know what you can't do anymore with the apps for these things, whether it's your cable company's app or your DirecTV app? You know what you can't do anymore? You can't switch between channels with the ease that we used to do when we had just a big clunky cable box. We could go, it was called channel surfing. It became something you could do. You could flip between 15 channels in like 30 seconds. Well, 15 seconds. 30. I bet you could do 30 channels in 15 seconds the way you used to be able to go and flip through them. Now it's like, oh, we're in a commercial break of the Cowboys game. Let's check over on the other game and see what's happening. Click. Boop. And then you get the new game and you're like, oh, cool. This one's going to a commercial. It sucks. It's terrible. It doesn't work. It was better before, right? But, it probably cost the companies more because they actually had to hire Americans to come out to your house and fix shit when it broke. But, that's not something we need anymore because you can just have a less effective app on your smart TV. Oh, and by the way, have you ever tried to use the VCR on the digital DirecTV VCR? Don't waste your fucking time. Oh, that was interesting. I'd like to pause that. Did you see that? I'd like you to see that again. Let me go back 15 seconds. And then you go back 15 seconds on the digital DVR. And then it takes you back 15 seconds. And then you hit play and it says like one sentence. And then it jumps back to live. It'll jump right back to live. It's like, fuck. Impossible. Terrible technology. So I'm already upset about the whole digital thing. But now DirecTV won't connect. And I'm like, fuck this. God damn it. So I jump over to Prime. I'm going to check out Amazon Prime. So on my Samsung Smart TV yesterday, click, 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 Prime. Boop. And then Prime goes to a white page that's in Arabic for some reason. And it's like, Prime Video. So that didn't work. So then I start jumping around to all the other apps. None of the apps work. YouTube doesn't work. I'm like, at least I can watch YouTube. No, I can't watch YouTube. Sorry, YouTube is being forbidden from connecting to like all of these weird messages that made me think that I was doing something wrong. Geez, I fucked up the TV. This is a me thing. This is obvious. So I go and I check another TV downstairs. It is also a Samsung TV. Check another TV. That TV's working fine. So now I'm even more convinced it's me. I have broken this TV. So I'm very upset. So what do? I figure it's me. So I reboot the internet. I disconnect the modem. I reinstall the router. I reconnect the TV. I do all of that shit like 50 times. Nothing. Still can't get to any apps. None of the apps are working. I did this for 3 hours. It was driving me nuts. Guys, for the grace of God, whatever was happening with the Samsung TV last night, it was forbidding me from resetting factories. That's how bad it got. Do you know how bad it has to get when you look deep inside the guts of your smart TV and you're hovering over the reset factory setup? When you're hovering over that and you're like, oh man, because that means you've lost everything. That means you got to reinstall your apps. You got to get all your passwords. Nothing's going to work. It's a lot of work. So thankfully, Samsung wouldn't even allow me to do that. They're like, reset factory settings. I'm like, okay, and I click on it, and they're like, this option is not available at the moment. And I'm like, fuck! So I really thought I screwed everything up. So after about 3.5 hours, then I get the bright idea. I'm going to go online. I'm going to Google search and see if anybody else. Turns out it's like trending #1. It's like every Samsung TV in the entire country isn't working. Yet remember, the one in my room wasn't working, but then there was a smaller one in another room, and that one seemed to be working fine. So I go and I check that one. Well, now that one isn't working, which made me feel really good because at this point I'm starting to go, I didn't break the TV. It wasn't because of my own incompetence. It wasn't because I did something wrong. This is something that is happening globally. And I'll tell you, one of the fun things about these global outages and how you can experience them on social media was that I simply went to the Samsung TV trend on Twitter. Oh, and I had conversations with people all over the world. How fun is that? Do you know you can do that on Twitter? Do you know, like, you can talk to people? I was talking to some dude from Santiago, Chile. He doesn't speak English. I don't speak Chileanese. Is that a word? I don't speak that. But we were able to communicate on Twitter because of the translation function. And we're going back and forth and we're laughing because we're both freaking out. And he couldn't reset his factory options either. Oh, it was great. Brought the world together for a brief moment there on my Twitter feed. So here's the weird thing, though. And this is what was everybody was experiencing this. I don't get it. Nothing worked on Samsung TV last night except for the Netflix app. The Netflix app worked for everybody. Everybody globally is like, what the fuck is going on with Netflix? Why is Netflix the only app that works on a Samsung TV for like 8 hours last night? So I go to bed and I'm done with it. My whole night was shot. My whole night was, you know how it is when you got to have instruction manuals open. And really, this is the part of your day where you just want to relax. You want to eat a gummy and you want to finish out watching, the last few episodes of Animal Kingdom on Netflix, which strangely enough, I was able to do. I was able to do that because Netflix was not, for some reason, interrupted with the Samsung service. Oh, the last funny thing was I call my kid. Finally, at like 10:30, I call my kid. And he picks up and I'm like, hey, what kind of TV is that in your bedroom? And he goes, it's an LG. And I go, oh, good. Oh, good. You're not going to, why? And I go, because Samsung TVs are out. And then I hear him go, oh, shit. It's not an LG. It's a Samsung. I was like, oh, okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to try and get on, because he was gaming. I go, I want you to try and get on TV. I want you to go to YouTube or something on your TV. And he couldn't do it. He got really mad. And then he started getting mad. He was like getting mad like where I was like 3 hours earlier. And I'm like, yeah, enjoy the ride, kid. I don't think it's going to get better. Oh, and then check this out. So I'm on hold. Look at this number. Very early on in this process, I called Samsung. I'm up and I'm waiting on hold. Here, let me. All right, here. So I start getting these. Here, let me show you this number that they gave me. One of these numbers, initially, I was like 15,000th in line. All right, well, here's a recent one. All right, this one says that I'm number 522 in line, or 5,002. It'll just be an hour and 59 minutes, and there are 5,222 customers in front of me. And then finally, after all that, I get this text, and nobody ever texted me about it. It was supposed to be like, we'll walk you through it via text. Nobody ever texted me. And finally, I get this. This one says, if you are reaching out due to the disruption of service on your Samsung TV, this issue has now been resolved and the case has been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. So that was at 7:51 this morning. So, of course, I roll over and I grab the remote and I turn the TV on, and it ain't resolved for me. It wasn't resolved for me. So what I ended up having to do in this case was by 8 o'clock this morning, I'm unplugging everything. I'm undoing the router. I am rebooting everything. I'm doing that 101 fix. That first thing that we all do once we decide, okay, this problem is not just going to fix itself. We reboot the routers and the modems and all that stuff. That's what you're supposed to do 101. And that's what I had done last night, very first thing, and to no avail. So I did it this morning, and guess what? TV is back. TV is back. The only problem is that I've got to re-sign into my DirecTV account, and I have no idea what that password. I'll deal with that tonight. But the good news is that Samsung was somehow able to fix their problem last night. So if you had a Samsung TV, you were probably in the same boat as me, thinking you did something wrong to your expensive flat screen, and it's probably not under warranty because maybe you didn't get it in the appropriate way. Maybe you got it when it fell off a truck, if you know what I mean. So there's nothing I can do. So fuck you, Samsung. All right, moving on. All right, let's talk about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Let's do our Jeffrey Epstein update for the day. A couple of things were revealed. Yesterday, we talked about the orange blob. Haven't heard anything more about that. Sorry about that. I had to clear my throat. Let's see here. Okay. What's the big one? What do we want to talk about here first in the Epstein? There's a whole bunch of stupid stuff going on. All right. So apparently, here's the thought I got. First thought. I think Trump banged Ghislaine. I think he did. I think Trump banged Ghislaine. There are some pictures of Ghislaine where she ain't that bad, especially like 25 years ago, where you're like, okay, she's probably a little old for Jeffrey's taste. And then there's all of these pictures of like Melania and Donald and Jeffrey and Ghislaine, and they're out socializing. And there's one picture in particular. Well, here, let me see if I can find it for you. There's one picture in particular that I saw this morning that I thought, I bet they swap. Or I don't know that Donald let Jeffrey have Melania, although I don't know, maybe he's not above it. I don't know how that stuff works. Hold on, let me show you this picture. All right. Yeah. All right. I am not a robot. All right. Here you go. All right. So look at this picture here. I just looked at this picture and I went, those freaky ass sex people, they were probably doing some swapping stuff. All right. Here's a picture. See, look at this. Look at these people. These are people who are hanging tonight. These are people who are out together. And somebody said, can I get a picture of you sexy couples? All right, so I think Trump had sex with Ghislaine at some point. It's probably not a relationship, but, just they're partying or whatever. Hey, Ghislaine, go in the room with Donald. I think, and I think that might be a reason why all this weird stuff with her is happening. And anyway, we'll get to the weird stuff with her that's happening. But first, let's talk about this first story. The FBI supposedly had redacted Trump's name in the Epstein files. That's being reported today. The Bureau's Freedom of Information Act team. The Freedom of Information Act team is a team of FBI agents whose job it is that before things are declassified and made available through citizens like you and me through the Freedom of Information Act, this team decides how much of that can actually be declassified. So the Bureau's Freedom of Information Act team, tasked with conducting a final review of the records and names, blacked out. Let me read this again. I don't want to misquote it. The Bureau's Freedom of Information Act team, tasked with conducting a final review of the records, blacked out. That's weird. They wrote this weird. The Bureau's Freedom of Information Act team, tasked with conducting a final review of the records, blacked out the names before higher-ups said last month that releasing the documents would not be appropriate or warranted. God, that's a terribly written sentence. How dare you? Oh my God, Professor Ed Morris, he would just go nuts on that sentence. That's terrible journalism right there. Bottom line is this. What the report is saying is that the FBI team, who basically vetted all the documents that were supposedly declassified, they went and they blacked out the name of Trump, and they blacked out a whole bunch of names, and that Biondi and Patel and Bongino, when they went in front of the American people about a month or so ago and said there's nothing to see here, they knew that the names had been blacked out. That's it. I don't know how big of a story this is. Goes on to say that team, the FBI's Freedom of Information Act team, that team's tasked with conducting a final review of the voluminous cache, had applied the redactions before the Department of Justice and the FBI concluded last month that no further disclosure of the files would be appropriate or warranted. From the government's perspective, okay, so here's basically what the government is saying with all this. From the government's perspective, Trump was a private citizen when the Epstein investigation took place, and therefore is entitled to privacy protections. Holy fuck. Oh, that is a terrible defense. Oh, so the defense is basically, well, he was just a regular guy then. I mean, you fuckers elected him president. I mean, I know you didn't know what kind of a regular guy he was hanging out, but you can't draw a distinction. We're talking about the president of the United States. That is an absolutely bullshit defense. He wasn't president then. How freaky that is. Anyway, let's move on to the real thing that's got me all worked up today. Welcome to Texas, Ghislaine. That's right. Ghislaine Maxwell has been, look, all of these headlines are say, Ghislaine Maxwell quietly moved to Texas from Florida. Ghislaine Maxwell secretly moved from Texas. Ghislaine Maxwell mysteriously moved. I'm talking about it. I read like 50 different stories today about it. How fucking quiet can it be? Now, if you mean that they didn't go, hey, just so everybody's aware, that crazy sex trafficking child rapist lady, yeah, we're sending her to a club fed now for no reason, just because she likes tennis. And we think that, you guys, why is Ghislaine Maxwell? I just can't. Why is she being moved to a federal work camp from the maximum security child rapist prison that she was in Tallahassee, Florida? Why all of a sudden is she getting all of these new privileges? I think she fucked Donald. I think she knows a whole bunch of shit about Donald. These are deals that she's making. This Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, when he went and met with her a couple of days ago or last week, I think it was a week ago today. She comes out of that meeting. He gave her a big giant box. What was in that box? He's giving her gifts. Then a couple of days later, her lawyers are so emboldened by the way the meeting went with the Department of Justice that they petitioned the Supreme Court to hear her case and possibly throw it out based on some weird-ass deal that the Florida Department of Justice made with Epstein back in 2016 that said that none of his accomplices could be prosecuted? What the fuck? What is going on here? She's not scared. She's not shaking in her boots with these people. She has these people. She knows she has these people. Ever since this whole thing has been bubbled back up, life has gotten exponentially better for Ghislaine Maxwell, and she ain't giving us anything. And it doesn't take a genius to go that her life is getting better because she isn't giving us anything. That's the whole point. Keep her happy so she doesn't talk. How do you not see this? All right, so she was moved to this Camp Brian, whatever. We'll get into all the details. But just off the top of my head, this is the place that I read earlier today where Elizabeth fucking weird chick is, the Theranos lady. You know, that kind of hot, but also probably severely autistic chick who told everybody that she could solve blood disease and all that. And then that was a lie. And so Theranos, remember she's there. That's where she is. Okay. You know who else is at this prison now where the globe's highest profile sex trafficker and child rapist is? You know who else is there? A couple of real housewives who got involved in like a telemarketing scheme and another one who cheated on their taxes. That's who this child rapist is now spending time with. Fucking why? Why? What did she do that got her this great new place to live? She didn't do anything. And that's what they want. They don't want her to say anything. They need her to keep quiet. They'd love it if she'd die, which would be really interesting. All right. Ghislaine Maxwell, she's been moved. Let's see here. Again, she's a fucking sex trafficker, man. She didn't cheat on her taxes. It's a much different kind of punishment that I, as an American citizen, expect these people to have to endure. All right, what we know about Camp Brian, Ghislaine Maxwell's new minimum security prison. Why is she in a minimum security prison? She's a child rapist and a sex trafficker. Just ask yourself that. Why? Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a federal prison camp, a minimum security facility in Bryan, Texas. Camp Brian, a minimum security prison facility that has hosted notable public figures like Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes and a number of TV reality stars. It's where they send TV stars. Maxwell was moved from a prison in Florida to the one in Texas, as multiple outlets started to report on Friday. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence. Well, it's gotten a lot easier, though, after she was found guilty on multiple counts of conspiring to sex traffic minors. Oh, by the way, the other interesting fun fact that I heard today, never in the history of the United States justice system has someone convicted of her charges, her crimes, been put in a club fed type situation. She's the first. This isn't, don't think like, well, that's normal because she's not violent. Not violent. She sex trafficking, raped children. The fuck not violent. The once girlfriend and associate of Epstein has regained the spotlight in recent weeks as investigators see her as a potential source of information on the disgraced financier. That's the spin they're giving it to us. This is the spin. She's a great source of information. Okay, so how about you start reporting some of that information? Well, there's a guy in our Congress. He's a Republican. What's that guy's name? He won't give her immunity. Okay. All right. So you don't really want the information. You just want her comfortable and happy and not chirping. That's what's going on here. And if you can't see it, there's something wrong with you. At Camp Brian, inmates typically live in bunk bed dormitory situations. Let's see here. Pink Lady Prison Consultants, which is a group that rates, I guess, female prisons, say that this is a pretty good one. The facilities offer worship services, athletic programs, everybody, Christians, Jews, Muslims. All right, so she can join a pickleball team. Pickleball for the next 20 years of her life for raping kids. BBC News reporting on the daily routine of Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes showed her taking extended walks in civilian clothing. All right, so she doesn't have to wear a prison uniform. Oh, here's the other thing. The new prison where Ghislaine Maxwell, the Globe's most well-known sex trafficker and child rapist, the prison where she's being held has no fence. No fence, no barbed wire. In fact, it looks like a junior college if you were just passing by. What's this about? What's going on here, you guys? This is nuts. This is why I keep getting obsessed with this story, because weird shit like this keeps going on, and we're supposed to what? Just go, well, that's totally normal. There ain't nothing weird about that. She's giving us nothing. All right, let's move on. All right, let's make it a little bit lighter here. I'm a dog with a bone on this Epstein thing. Let's talk about Redbone. Red Zone. Let's talk about Redbone. What is Redbone? What does that term mean? Is that a beer? Isn't that a beer? No, that's Red Dog. Redbone, isn't that? That's like Redbone is like an ethnic or a cultural kind of thing. A Louisiana black person is a red, right? Isn't that a thing? I don't know. Can I not say that? Did I just racist myself up? I said the word Redbone. I didn't know. Jamie, look up Redbone. I don't know what it means. All right, let's talk about Red Zone. Red Zone has been purchased. Actually, let me get the latest on here, because we can go with the Shefty news. Adam Schefter is, of course, the guy who broke this earlier today. At least that's what I saw. Let's see what Shefty has to say. Blockbuster deal. The NFL and ESPN have reached an agreement that gives ESPN access to Red Zone, NFL Network, 7 more regular season games, fantasy football rights, and more in exchange for equity in ESPN, potentially worth billions. All right, so what does this mean? All right, so, well, you know what? This here's all I got to do. I can't just go off that. Let's let somebody, not the New York Times. First of all, I got a paywall. I need free news on this. Now, here we go. Let's go with USA Today. All right, it says ESPN obtains Red Zone and other media assets from the NFL Network in a blockbuster deal. In one of the biggest media deals this century, which, let's be honest, it's only 2025. It's not saying much. And it's one of, so it's, come on. You're hyping, hyperbole aside, this is a big deal. In one of the biggest media deals this century, ESPN and the National Football League agreed to a deal that will send popular entities, such as Red Zone, over to the ESPN network. The deal, according to the report, could be worth billions and is expected to be formally announced next week. ESPN is gearing to start its direct-to-consumer service within weeks. What? Now there's going to be, is ESPN the one that comes with our cable company going to turn out to be like the second tier thing, like the loser thing? Like nobody watches that anymore. It's for the old people, and then like the new modern ESPN is going to all be like, $10 a month, and it's going to be an app. Is that what we're looking at? I fear it is. Tell you what I fear is it's not going to be $10 a month. It's going to be like $99 for the whole season, or what? It'll be some crazy. The network is expected to absorb the aforementioned Red Zone NFL network that is headquartered in Inglewood, California, and ESPN expected to take on its slate of games this season as well. So, will NFL Network, what happens with Good Morning Football? Is that still going to be a thing? I like that thing. That's a good thing. But I watch it on YouTube in clips, so I probably won't be affected either way. All right, there you go. That's it. Big changes coming to football. Pat McAfee probably going to host Red Zone. That'd be fun. I would totally love Pat McAfee. With all due respect to, the people they got doing Red Zone. They used to have that little gremlin-looking guy with the giant ears. I forgot his name. And then they got a new guy, Handsome Man. The new guy is Handsome Man, which is like the direct opposite of the original guy. They're both fine at it. Like, they do a good job. But I don't know. Maybe McAfee can make it more fun. I don't know. Adam Reyna joining me and getting racist in the chat room. Adam Reyna's, he not white, but he also ain't black, so I don't know if he's allowed to make these kinds of observations. Adam says that a red bone is a light-skinned black person. He also goes on to say that usually has reddish hair too, and no, not racist. How can it be? It's a porn category. Well, I mean, I appreciate the observation, but there are a lot of offensive porn categories. I don't know. I would even imagine, yes. I don't know, Adam, are you saying that like big black dicks isn't like at least borderline racist? I think ultimately I'm with you though. It's not racist. It's celebratory. It's celebratory of the male, of the black male phallus. It's like the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are celebratory of Native American accomplishments. It's like big black BB. What's the category called in porn? Is it BBC? Big black. I think it is. I wouldn't know. I live in Texas. We're not allowed to watch porn anymore. All right. Thank you, Adam. It's always nice engaging with you. Gary Busey. Let's talk about crazy man Gary Busey. Gary Busey's in the news today. Gary Busey is a sex perv, as it turns out. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I haven't been doing my nice little... I'm so out of this. Haven't been doing that. I got all of these nice little headlines. Gary Busey is a sex perv. Let's find out what this is about. Gary Busey was convicted today. Hold on. Let's find out exactly what he did. 81 years old, Gary Busey. And, everything says, the Oscar-nominated 81-year-old, that's at 81, being nominated for an Oscar in 1980, you just nominated. That's not, it's better than, I guess, not being nominated, but you didn't win. You think, honestly, the career arc of Gary Busey, in 1980, when he was nominated for the Buddy Holly story, and I was only like 10 years old, but I heard like the adults and I knew what the buzz was. He was expected to be like the next Marlon Brando. They thought he was going to be the next. And then he just went Gary Busey. He just became his own thing. Late night cable action flicks and whatever for a paycheck. I don't know what happened. But Gary Busey is now 81 years old and he's traveling the country. He's attending these autograph signings and these Comic-Con conventions and all that kind of stuff. Got himself in a little bit of trouble. Well, let's jump into it, shall we? Gary Busey, 81, pleads guilty to groping a woman at New Jersey horror movie convention. Here you go, Oscar-nominated actor Gary Busey. That was a long time ago, guys. A long time ago. Oscar-nominated actor Gary Busey has pled guilty to a sex crime after allegedly groping a woman at a horror movie convention in New Jersey. The Lethal Weapon star, 81, admitted during Zoom court. Well, that's good. They didn't make him show up. Zoom court, he admitted Thursday that the incident was, quote, not an accidental touching, Your Honor. Your Honor, I got to be honest with you. I'm Gary Busey, and I meant to do that. That was entirely my intent. That's nice. It's coming clean. No pun intended. The Lethal Weapon star admitted during Zoom court hearing on Thursday that the incident was not an accidental touching. It says here, Busey was accused of inappropriately grabbing two women's buttocks. I pronounced it wrong. There's no such word as buttocks, just buttocks. Busey was accused of inappropriately grabbing two women's buttocks and attempting to unhook another woman's bra during a photo shoot at the Monster Mania convention at the Doubletree Hotel in Cherry Hill back in 2022. All right, so he's taking pictures, we just love you, Gary Busey. First of all, you got to think that somebody's going to wait in line to say that to Gary Busey is down to fuck, right? You're like, this person, you're Gary Busey. You're like, this person is like waiting in line. I think I got a shot. So he did just that. He did what men of his generation were conditioned to do, and that is shoot your shot. He had her. They were taking pictures. He starts touching her butt. He's probably got a room right there at the Doubletree. He's like, let's go upstairs. Let's have sex. I'm Gary Busey. I'm from the 70s when sex wasn't a big deal. Now all of you kids, you think sex is like the end-all be-all. Just have sex with anybody the way they did in the 70s. That's probably what Gary Busey was thinking. Just touching a butt. Touching a butt. Touching a butt did not used to be an actionable offense. Didn't used to be rape. I get it. It is now. Not defending touching a butt. I wouldn't grab a girl's ass in 2025. Are you nuts? Because I'm normal, and I understand that, it's different. I don't know that any 1-year-old Gary Busey knows that the world has changed. We keep getting these old dudes. We keep getting these old dudes from a different generation who, forget you can't hug that long. You got to let go. As soon as the person you're hugging starts to pull back, you got to let go, Gary. One victim claimed that Busey placed his face near her chest and then allegedly asked, "Where'd she get these?" He did that. He did a motorboat. You can't blame Gary. Gary's probably been going to these things for years, and, he's probably signed 500 million tits by now. Gary, sign my tits. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that all of these strange women are different individual persons and they make their own decisions. He just thinks they're all up for him grabbing their boobs. Busey initially denied any wrongdoing. Well, yeah, initially he didn't think he did anything wrong. He's like, what? I just grabbed her ass. What? Busey initially denied any wrongdoing, even telling paparazzi in Malibu that none of that happened and that the women just made up the story. But the actor has now pled guilty to 1 count of 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct. I don't care. It's only 1 count, and I don't care that it's like 4th degree, which means that it's almost nothing. It still has the word criminal sexual contact. I don't want that on my resume. Let's see here. Under a plea deal, 3 other counts of criminal sexual contact and 1 count of attempted criminal sexual contact were dropped. The actor now faces between 1 and 5 years of probation and fines. He will also have a criminal record and must submit a DNA sample. His sentencing is scheduled for September 18th. All right, Gary Busey grabbing ass at Comic-Con conventions, and he's like, what? You can't do that anymore? Gary, you haven't really been able to do that. We're being honest, probably about 25 years, but, really within the last 10, you can't do that at all in the last 10. What's the matter with you? All right, let's move on to Saudi Arabia. This piece of video that's gone viral. This comes out of some amusement park in Saudi Arabia. I don't even care where. You shouldn't either. We're just going to watch this video and react to it because, hold on. Yep, there it is. You've probably heard about it. This was a, here. Hold on. Okay. This sucks so hard. All right, first let's look at this. All right, so it looks nice, right? Like this looks permanent. So I've got a problem. I don't go near carnival rides, right? Like I'll go to a carnival and I'll play some games, knowing full well that all the games are con jobs. They're all con jobs. They're all it's bullshit. They get you to spend $15 on a stuffed animal that costs them like $1. So whatever, it's a con job. But I won't ride the rides. And I won't ride the rides because of a couple of instances. I was once on a tilt-a-whirl in a parking lot carnival, that come through town when I was a kid. I was on a tilt-a-whirl, and from the very beginning, the thing started making a weird noise. Not the whole ride, just my car. The car that I was riding in was going clank, clank, like horrifying noises. And as the ride progressed, I kept getting, I'm getting like thrown, okay, so there's a dude who's controlling it. Who wants to go faster? That guy. And if you're on a tilt-a-whirl, every rotation, you come back by him and you whiz by him really quick. Hey, can you slow this down? Hey, can you slow this down? Hey, it's me again. Can you? And every time we're going by, I'm screaming at this guy. I don't think this thing is working right. And then so the ride finally ends, and I get out, and I'm all dizzy, and I'm like, there's something wrong with this car, man. It was like teetering off it's on an arm, but it was moving in a way that the other cars weren't. I was fucking freaking out. So I get off the ride and I go to the guy, there's something wrong with this car. And the guy goes, oh yeah. And they shut the whole ride down. They shut the whole damn thing. So I have now spent the rest of my life going, I dodged a bullet there. I was on a carnival ride that was probably a piece of shit. It was about to break. People were going to get killed. I was going to be flung off this tilt-a-whirl into a fucking Target parking lot. Rolling across the parking lot. I'm all dead. Then I had another incident at the very same carnival a couple of years later. This time, I'm stupid. This time I was probably a little bit older, so I was probably drinking. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go in the upside down Ferris wheel. So we go up in this upside down Ferris wheel. It's me and this other guy, right? And I'm at the top, and this is one of those Ferris wheels that's enclosed and you can spin it. So you're going vroom, 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 right? And I'm with an asshole. Have you ever ridden a carnival ride with an asshole? The guy who's just like, let's get it going as fast as we can. So we're at the apex of this Ferris wheel, and he's spinning this fucking thing like crazy. And I swear to God, I'm losing my shit. I'm wearing baggy shorts. All of a sudden, every piece of money that I have falls out of my pocket because I'm upside down, and I see it go, just waft bills and shit, because this is like 1988 or something. Bills just wafting down there. And I'm looking at the dude, and he starts collecting my money. And I'm like, oh, good. Good, he got my money. That's good. Ride ends, I get out, I go, hey, give me my money. And the dude's like, what? What? I'm like, oh, fucking carnivals. Never again. I'm never doing carnival rides again. And I never have. Wouldn't put my kid on a carnival ride. I've taken my kid to a bunch of carnivals, and he's like, Dad, can we ride that? I'm like, no, we can't. This is a principal thing. I'm never going to ride a carnival ride again. And it's moments like last night in Saudi Arabia at what appears to be a permanent carnival, a real amusement park, a place where you would expect there to be, maintenance regularly performed. This happened. Check this out. It's a lot of fun. They're having some fun. This is great. Oh my God, we're here in Saudi Arabia. All of those people are screwed up. I imagine most of them have broken backs. Let's watch that one more time. Goes, the sound drops out. Some of these people are critically injured. Holy fuck. You imagine hearing that? I mean, you're probably, we're not that high, right? No, man. Holy shit. These people right here, these people right here are probably the most seriously injured as they go slamming into the, watch this. They just boom right into the, oh my God. All right, let's see what's happening here with this story. What's the latest? How many people are hurt? Let's see. All right, SA Amusement Park. No, not San Antonio. Seriously, there's no news? News. Gonna make me do this, right? All right, here it is. This is the 360 amusement ride. Oh, it's a news story. I don't want to watch a news story. Well, okay, we'll watch a news story. All right, here we go. I was going to read it to you, but let's see what NBC News has to say about this. Maybe they can explain. Boom.
Of glee turned to terror as a fairground ride in Saudi Arabia snapped in two. Local media reporting 23 people were injured, 4 of them in critical condition, adding 1 victim had to have a limb amputated. Cell phone videos show the ride, which state media calls 360 big pendulum, swinging back and forth while spinning before snapping, lurching and collapsing, sending shoes flying and riders shrieking. The horrifying incident unfolding at Green Mountain Resort, a theme park 2 hours east of Jeddah. The area, a popular destination in the region, the Saudi tourism website advertising cable cars, lush parks and neon lights by night. Videos from years past show the ride making the full 360-degree rotation. A stark contrast to the sirens blaring across the night sky as patients received first aid on site. Later being transferred to local hospitals, which declared a state of emergency, according to a local outlet.
tell you.
Jakob Val is the president and CEO of the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions.
So to see something like this, it is so rare that it surprises us as well, because we have never seen anything like this happening. But if these numbers prove to be true, we would obviously could say that it is one of the worst accidents which we have had in the past.
In addition to those injured on impact when the ride hit the ground, one local report says some riders were hit when the ride's pole bounced back at high speed, swinging down like a hammer on the riders below.
I can tell you that we have the leading experts in engineering around the table. And as we speak, they are talking about, what could have caused this incident. Until that investigation is closed, we obviously highly recommend not to operate.
Government officials saying they've ordered the closure of the resort and an investigation into the circumstances of the incident. Keir Simmons, NBC News.
Show it again. Oh my God. Horrifying. That is. Yeah, I do appreciate, though, that they trotted out a German engineer to explain, because that's who I want to hear from. I'll tell you, I probably wouldn't ride an amusement park ride in the Middle East. The hell? Hold on. Sorry. Got some crazy news. Crazy audio on my headphones. I apologize. Germany. I would ride German amusement park rides. I feel like those are probably the safest in the world. Those people are nuts when it comes to detail, and the whole nation of OCD engineers over there. All right, let's wrap this up today. I know it seems like, hey, Pugs, it's been such a short show today. I apologize, but we are going to be doing a Shock House later tonight. So I got something else I got to do, and then we're going to come back here. We're going to do a live stream, Shock House Dallas. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk chicks. We're going to talk stuff. We're going to do guy talk. Myself and Cece and Keith will be around about 6 o'clock. So follow, subscribe, and all that. I want to get into the Micah Parsons situation. Let's go deep on Micah Parsons on Shock House tonight. I got some trade bait for you. Let's talk about all the trade scenarios and how we can make Micah Parsons a Chicago Bear. Let's do it. All right. But first, before we do that, I want to show you something really cute. Something I'm telling you, man, this keeps happening. I keep getting drawn back to the Catholic Church. I was born and abused Catholic my entire life. As soon as I had my own choice in the matter, I was like, nope, I'm done with that silliness. Then the Vatican fucks around and gives me a pope from my neighborhood. There is a pope, not just from my city. It's not just a pope from America. There's a pope from my neighborhood, a South Side pope. So obviously I've been a little bit more interested. I mean, growing up in Catholic school, you have to understand, guys, and maybe you don't get this, but when you grow up in a Catholic culture, when you grow up in a Catholic environment, the pope is not somebody you have anything in common with. The Pope is like an alien from another planet. He is legitimately if you are a devout Catholic, he is the most important human being on the planet, okay? You're not supposed to be able to well, if I was stuck in an elevator with the Pope, what would you talk to him about? You're supposed to have nothing to say to the Pope. You're supposed to be scared shitless of the Pope. Meanwhile, my Pope walks around in Chicago White Sox hats and tweets about missing pizza. So what happened with the Pope? Pope Leo was doing his Pope parade thing that he does, because everywhere the Pope goes, there's a giant parade of people, thousands of people come out. Hey, the Pope's got to go to 7-Eleven. Then 10,000 people fill, as he rides in the back of his pickup truck, waving to everybody on his way to get a Slurpee or whatever he is. I imagine he likes Zyn. I bet because Pope can't smoke. Popes used to be able to smoke. That's a weird thing. You ever seen a priest smoke? Priests smoke. Chain smoke. You see it a lot in Godfather movies where popes smoke, or not popes, but priests. Anyway, I bet he likes Zyn. Maybe he likes On. I don't know. But every time he goes anywhere, a crowd of people gather around. So he's moving through the Vatican, I guess, yesterday. And this happened. And this just warmed my heart. Here you go. Nope, that's not it. Oh, for crying out loud. Here, I thought I talked it up and I thought I had it perfect. Now here we go, because I'm an idiot. All right, Pope Leo in the Vatican stopped his procession so that he could receive a present from friends, some friends from his hometown. Here, check this out. This Pope's the dude. All right, check him out. All right, here you go. All right, so if you notice here, so somebody's got a sign here. It says, "We have Aurelio's Pizza," which is my favorite thin crust pizza on the planet. Aurelio's. Look, if I'm being honest, Aurelio's could be a little bit thinner. I like my tavern a little bit thinner and crispier. But what Aurelio's is famous for is their sauce. Most other pizza places everywhere in the world do some variant of a savory pizza sauce. It's always savory. There's always, you can taste the garlic. You can taste the parsley. You can taste, the oregano. All of that stuff goes into a really great savory pizza sauce. Aurelio's is famous for their sweet sauce. Their sauce is sweet. Their sauce is delicious. And it's just different enough from every other slice of pizza that you go, okay, I like this one. I worked at Aurelio's. The first pizza place I worked at was Aurelio's. The Aurelio's in Orland Park on 143rd Street. So it's not the real Aurelio's. The real Aurelio's is in Homewood. That's the really old one. That's the legendary Aurelio's. That's the Aurelio's that this Pope grew up going to. So when somebody in the crowd is holding up an Aurelio's sign, this Pope orders his Swiss Guard, which is the elite military unit that guards the Pope. You know what their nickname is? The world's smallest army. Yeah, the Swiss Guard. You want to know something else weird about the Swiss Guard? Okay, so it goes back to like the 1400s. Some king of Sweden or Switzerland. Which is it? Switzerland is Swiss, right? Like the king of Switzerland. He was like a devout Catholic, and he took it upon himself to make sure that the Pope was always protected. So he ordered his most elite soldiers to the Vatican to be the Swiss Guard to take care of the Pope. And that was like in the 1400s. And they're still, the Pope's Secret Service are still the Swiss Guard. You want to hear something cool about the Swiss Guard? You want to hear what the criteria is? 1, you have to be Catholic. I mean, that makes sense. 2, you have to be Swiss-born male. Can't be a woman. There are no Swiss Guard women. You have to be over 6 feet tall. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to have a college degree, and it's the elite of the elite. Anyway, he's moving through the crowd. He sees these people. We have pizza for you. And he orders the Swiss Guard, these guys right in front of him. He orders the Swiss Guard to stop the car and grab the pizza. Here's our Pope, the people. He gives it the Pope. Hey. You know what else I love about this Pope? Whenever you try and imitate this Pope, you don't have to talk like the popes in the past. You know the Pope and Jesus comes to you in the spirit of forgiveness. Like that was always how the popes talk. You ever heard this Pope talk? Hey, that's a nice slice of pizza. Hey, yeah, give me that Aurelio's. What is that? Is that from the Homewood location, or is that from Orland? Where is that one? That's what I love about this Pope. All right, the Pope got himself some Aurelio's pizza. Well, let's be honest. Do you think he ate it? Not a chance. Not a chance. You see what he did? Look at it. He takes it from him, because here's the other thing about Pope Leo. He's a cool dude. He understands that it's not about him in this moment, that it's about these people. These people came all the way knowing that he loves Aurelio's pizza, and they brought this for him. He's not going to eat this pizza, but he recognized, because he's an empathetic and decent human being, that this is a huge moment for these people. So he's going to give these people a moment. That's what it's about. That's what's beautiful. Although, by the way, let's not. All right, so look. Here comes the pizza. All right, Swiss Guard smiling. He's like, good pizza. All right, it's a personal. It's an Aurelio's personal, and I bet the Pope could crush a large. I know I could. So they gave him a personal. And how old is it exactly? When did y'all fly in from Chicago? When did you just get here this morning? And how far ahead of time did you have the pizza? It's probably freeze dried, right? Or whatever they do, take and bake kind of a deal. Maybe that's it. All right, let's watch what he does with the pizza. So he's about to be handed the pizza. All right, he's got it. He's looking at it. He sees, it says Aurelio's. I bet there's something written on it. Would you write a personal note to the Pope on the box? I would. It's a cardboard box. All right, let's see. He's looking at it. Now he's looking at them. Gives him a smile and a thumbs fucking up. Thumbs up from the Pope, man. For pizza? All right, now look. Let's see how he handles it. He just hands it to a guy and turns the other way. He ain't eating it. I'm sorry. He ain't eating that. The probably won't let him eat it. All right, that's my Pope. I'm not Catholic anymore, but I'm culturally Catholic. Like when it comes fun stuff like, Pope eating pizza and wearing a baseball cap and the Pope trying to program his NFL network there in the Vatican so he can watch Bears games. That's the kind of Pope stuff that I like. That's it, guys. We're done. That's been pretty much it for the show. It was a quick one today, right? A quick one, but not terrible. We'll be back Monday with a full show. Monday is when we start our pledge week. So please, if you've been holding back on supporting the show, Monday is when we need to start getting the pledge weeks rolling in, the pledge funds, whatever. Today's show has been brought to us by Leslie C. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you very much. That's so cool. If you would like to be Mondays, executive producer, if you would like to bring us Monday's show, drop a little something there in the Venmo or the Cash App, but be prepared, as we say, Monday begins the all-new pledge week. All right. I don't know what I'm doing this weekend. You guys got any plans? Like this is a two-way conversation. Ugh. All right, that's it. I'm getting out of here. I love you guys. Shock House coming up. 6 o'clock, about an hour and a half or so. We'll get into some Shack House Radio. All right, I'm Pugs. We'll be back Monday. Love you guys. Bye.